Welcome, everybody, to another glorious week of that time when you sit by your computer or your phone or your laptop, which I guess is also a computer, or maybe your tablet, smartphone, smart device, maybe your Amazon Fire Stick with the screen, maybe while you're on the toilet or possibly in the kitchen cooking something, or maybe while you're driving around. We don't recommend that because driving around and watching the hilarity that ensues over the next hour and a half is very dangerous for oncoming drivers and possibly could get you a fine or arrested.
And we know you won't be using a Windows phone, so at least we can just cross that one off the list.
Yeah, so we would highly recommend that you sit on your couch, get some popcorn, or hit play while you're enjoying a nice, lovely poop. Possibly when you're at the gym. I mean, I wouldn't recommend pooping in the middle of the gym. If you're going to poop at the gym, maybe go to one of the nice facilities. Hopefully your gym has facilities. If your gym doesn't have facilities, you probably question why you're going to that gym in the first place. Mm-hmm. But anyway, whether you're pooping or on a treadmill, we seriously hope that you enjoy the next hour of your life because we are ready to give you what you want.
And that is Brian talking for a large proportion of time and me chiming in every now and then.
So get ready, everybody, for a great hour of your life. And what are you going to watch? No, we're not Criminal Minds or CSI. All those shows have been canceled. You know what's not canceled? Episode 165 of the Geek Dad Report. Woo! That's right. We're the one show dedicated, formulated, specially created to helping you poop while you're on the treadmill and bring you all the nerd news you need to know while putting a smile on all your glorious faces. I'm Brian West, the hostess with a monotone mostess.
And I'm Ryan Thomason. And I've actually never pooped on a treadmill. I don't know if that's an actual thing.
Yeah, they do it all the time. It's like high intensity training.
Do they have like a special toilet that's like at the end of the treadmill?
No, that's the beauty of pooping on a treadmill. You don't have to worry about it because the treadmill just shoots it at the guy behind you. You just don't want to be the guy behind a treadmill pooper. Just let it fly. Just got to nonchalantly just kind of do. You got to be wearing some track pants though. You can't be wearing like the yoga pants or else they're going to know.
Yeah.
But if you wear the track pants, they're nice and kind of baggy, and you can kind of just kick it down your leg and then hits the treadmill and doof, shoots out like a little turd missile.
Well, I guess treadmill poops is the first section of the show episode name. So
you want to name this 165 treadmill poop?
Yes, or at least that's the first section. We'll find out what the next one's going to be.
Well, why wait? I can tell you what the next segment's going to be right now. We got all kinds of fun things. We got news. We got topics to cover about things in the news. We got listener questions. We actually have parent traps. We said we were going to do it last week, but we ran out of time. Shocker. I know you guys are all just like, oh my God, Brian and Ryan ran too long. Yeah, it never happens. I had some recommendations, and then we got a comic review we're going to do after the show. So we got a lot for everybody tonight on this episode.
Your ears and your eyeballs will be well fed.
Yes, definitely. And, we're going to talk a lot about the Oscars. Speaking of pooping, Ryan, we're going to talk a lot about the Oscars tonight because they released all their nominees, and we have questions, and other people have questions, and everybody has questions and anger that needs to be had, and opinions that must be given because that's what you do on the internet.
And there's currently no shortage of opinions right now when it comes to this Oscar session. So
yeah, I mean, did you hear about our nomination?
Which nomination?
We got nominated for something.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
For Best Podcast?
Yeah. I mean, that's why this whole show has been themed about bowel movement so far because we've been nominated in the category of show most likely to cause a bowel movement.
Yes. Are you sure it's not the Razzies that we got nominated to and it wasn't the Oscars?
Listen, one award's the same as all awards. I don't know, whatever. An award's a word, Ryan. Don't try and bring us down.
Yeah, we'll just take what we can get.
Yeah.
With it. Just like how a turd would roll off the back of a treadmill.
Off a treadmill? That's what we should rename the show. The geek turd running off a treadmill. All right, enough poop talk. This has gotten gross. What do you say? You got anything you want to talk about, or you just want to dive into the news?
I think we should dive into the news. That's what people are listening to us for right now.
So let's just flush that segment.
And you have to plunge it just to get it. Make sure you got all.
All right, one quick question, Ryan: toilet paper or a bidet? What's your?
I've never actually used a bidet.
I've never either, but the idea of a nice warm stream cleaning you sounds fantastic.
I've always wanted to try one, but I've never had a chance yet. So.
Yeah, I saw a story on the news where like apparently toilets like are being like city lines are being clogged by all the flushable wet wipes. People don't want to use 2-ply anymore, so they're using like baby wipes and they're flushing them, and it's clogging everything. So everyone, don't do that.
Yes,
it's a public service announcement.
If you have a really old house, I suggest you really don't do that.
Yeah,
so.
just eat less burritos. Should be all right.
Yes.
All right, Ryan. On that note. It is time. It is time to enter the dragon of nerd news. You are coming.
The 2-inch punch.
My training has been complete. I spent 2 whole hours on the treadmill. No bathroom breaks. To bring you guys the uppercut of information, the eye gouge of knowledge.
And you finish it off with the Cobra Kai leg sweep of learning.
Come on, keep going. I'm stalling. I gotta find this. I gotta find our Oscar story here.
This grin that was growing on your face, like you're going like this, like you're about to say something like really funny, and then I was waiting for it to come because I know your facial expressions by this point, and because I pretty much just staring at your face for 2 hours a week. So
you lucky dog. You know what? So many people wish they could switch spots with you. You don't even know.
Yeah.
If you saw the emails, I just protect you from them because I want you to always feel good about yourself. All right. First up, what are we talking about?
I don't know, Brian. What are we talking about?
The Oscars, Ryan. First story of the night. I guess it's the main story of the week. There's really not a lot of news, so we're gonna dive in. Usually we don't talk about awards on this show, but since we have like maybe 4 other news stories, we're gonna tell you guys at least talk about the main ones. All the nominees for the Oscars.
January is kind of like the dumpster month that where like nothing really happens when it comes to really anything, like video games, movies, or I mean all everything is just it's pretty dead time.
Well, and all the big trailers are saving for the Super Bowl, so in a couple weeks we'll have all those coming out. Which I don't think I'm watching the Super Bowl this year, but we're gonna talk more about that a little bit later. So all right, here we go. All the nominees. Do we want to let's see. We're just going to go through some of the major categories because we don't need to talk about do you care what best sound mixing is?
I could not care less.
I mean, the big winners in this one is Black Panther. In our universe was Black Panther. Picked up 7 Oscar nominations. How many will it win? I don't know. Unfortunately, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But here's a big one. Best visual effects. We have Avengers: Infinity War, Christopher Robin, First Man, Ready Player One, and Solo, A Star Wars Story. I have seen 3 of those, and I want Solo to win Best Visual Effects because it looked real pretty.
So that was a good one. I don't know how it could be Ready Player One though.
Yeah, Ready Player One was amazing. I mean, Avengers was good too, but
I'm the shoe-in on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Avengers always looks pretty, but there are times when Tony Stark's armor doesn't look great, and Ready Player One, never at any point did I sit here and go, oh, this whole movie is shot in front of a green screen, animated. It was great. So I'm with you. I would like to see Solo win, but I think Ready Player One will probably win. Actually, they'll probably give it to First Man because the Oscars are a bunch of dickholes.
Yeah, and they only put Infinity War in there just to keep people pacified.
Yeah, because they get tired of the nerd rage on the internet, which I get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where'd the list go? Hang on, stupid MacBook. All right, here we go. All right, let's go. We're gonna get to the big ones last. Let's see what we got here. Best sound mixing, no, don't care. Editing, don't care. Best animated, no, don't care about shorts. Best production design, don't care. Oh, here we go. Best original song, here's a good one. All the Stars, Black Panther. I'll Fight, RBG. The Place Where Lost Things Go, Mary Poppins. Shallow, A Star Is Born. When a cowboy trades his spurs for wings, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Wait, the Deadpool Ashes song didn't get nominated?
No, nothing for Deadpool got nominated. Yeah, that's a good point. That was a good song. They should have nominated Ashley.
Well, I think they purposely did it with Klein Dion and all the production stuff just to try and get like an Oscar nomination.
It is Celine Dion. You think that they would at least get a nod? That was a good song too.
Yeah.
All right, so
it's stuck in my head now that I had said it. Now it's all stuck in my head again. So
we already have our first official what we think got snubbed. Oh, here we go. That's what else we'll talk about. While we're going through these categories, if there's anything you think got snubbed, let's say it now. So clearly, we think Celine. I almost said like Dijon mustard. Celine Dion's Ashes for Deadpool 2 got screwed. That was a great song. I will say I hope All the Stars from Black Panther wins because that soundtrack is incredible.
I haven't listened to the soundtrack, but it did have a lot of good stuff on that movie.
Yeah, it's super great. There's so much good Kendrick's. God, I can't fucking speak tonight.
Yeah.
Kendrick's Lamar on it. That.
Do you actually buy the soundtracks, or do you just listen to them?
I do sometimes. It depends on the soundtrack. I have the Black Panther soundtrack because it has, like I said, it's an incredible soundtrack. It's by far the best Marvel soundtrack ever. It's one of my favorite movie soundtracks. It was one of the movies where the soundtrack felt so much like the movie. Sometimes you can... Like, I remember I used to listen to a lot of classical soundtracks, like the Gladiator soundtrack and Braveheart. And the soundtrack very much felt like the movie. Like, it's such a good job of the composers making something that when you listen to it, you really brought the movie back, right? It felt so much a part of in the DNA. It's one of my big complaints with Marvel movies in general. Can you name anybody's theme song? A single one?
No.
You could probably recognize Captain America and the Avengers if I were to play them for you. But yeah, that's the whole point. Is like you cannot. I mean, all the great movies, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, all those classic movies that we love, Superman, Batman. I mean, you hear their sounds and you're like, boom, you know what it is. I mean, right off the top of your head. And it's just that's just not the case for a lot of these Marvel movies. And I thought Black Panther was one of the first soundtracks where they really broke that mold. And I mean, you can listen to any Black Panther soundtrack song comes on, you will immediately know it's from Black Panther. I mean, it felt as much a part of that movie as it did its own, music.
The only soundtrack I've ever bought was the Braveheart soundtrack, and I listened to that a bunch of times. Dude. And I can hear any song from that soundtrack, and I know exactly what fight that is in the movie. I know exactly what's going on in the movie at that point. It's the only
I just bought the Top Gun soundtrack the other day. Are you kidding me? That's a great soundtrack.
That's one that it's like you have to own that one.
I've got the Titanic soundtrack.
Oh God!
I mean, I definitely bought that in the 90s. It's still part of my collection.
When you're trying to impress Hollywood, how like...
No, that did not... I bought that when I was trying to impress other girls. I bought that way before I met my current wife. If I were to play that for Holly right now to try and impress her, she'd look at me and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You're like, no, we're not sleeping together tonight.
I mean, she likes Celine Dion. And I mean, come on. My heart will go on. I don't care what you are. Check your testosterone at the door. That is a goddamn great song.
Mm-hmm.
A little sappy, but it's a great song. And the soundtrack is really good. If you like classical soundtracks, the Titanic soundtrack is very epic.
Yeah.
But I have John L. Williams' greatest hits. So it's got like Jaws and Indiana Jones themes. It's got Superman. It's got all the great John L. Williams. I got all the Star Wars soundtracks. I have... what else do I have? I have the Judgment Night soundtrack. That is a great mix of hip-hop and rock. Mm-hmm. I have... What else do I have? Titanic, Gladiator, Braveheart. I got all the Batman soundtracks.
Wow, I didn't know you that. I mean, I've only bought the Braveheart soundtrack's the only soundtrack I've ever bought, and that was only because I like classical music sometimes, and I like classical music. So.
Well, that's part of it. Is I really enjoy the shit out of classical music, and I love. In my opinion, the new classical composers they all do soundtracks. So,
yeah.
And so, it depends on the soundtrack. I mean, I don't buy every one, obviously. But, some of the epic movies, like you said, like the Bravehearts and the Gladiators, that really just have an epic movie. You're just like, I've got to listen to the soundtrack. I also have, Blade. I got the Blade soundtrack. That's a great soundtrack. But, anyway. Blade. I got the Mortal Kombat. Dun, 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 dun. Mortal Kombat!
That's the only thing I know.
You're just like, workout! You just gotta rip your shoulders off on the bench press. Because you're like, Mortal Kombat!
Do some curls!
And then you shit while you're on the treadmill. Poop. So anyway, what were we talking about? Best original song. So, All the Stars, Black Panther. Now I'm gonna get the Deadpool 2 soundtrack. You just reminded me I gotta get Ashes. It's a great song.
Yes.
What will probably win? I've not seen Mary Poppins. I've heard that's a pretty good movie, but my guess will be Shallow, From a Star is Born. Everyone apparently loves that song and movie.
I have no desire to see that movie. I'm sure my wife and I will watch it when it comes in on Netflix or something.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it when it comes on Netflix. I mean, I like Bradley Cooper. Lady Gaga seems like a fine actress. The movie I don't know the ending completely. I know it's really sad, so I'm guessing there's 3 main leads. I'm sure at least one of them die. Maybe they all die in a plane crash.
It's a movie that it's been remade, like, this is the 4th iteration of it.
Oh, really?
They've been doing it since, like, the 40s or something.
Wow, that's crazy.
So.
All right, so so we got our snub. What do you think's going to win? If you had to guess, what do you want to win, or what do you think is going to win, or do you even care?
I'm assuming it's going to probably be the Star is Born one.
All right, probably.
So.
And then best original score is... God, they don't have Han Solo in here for best original score. They should just...
Well, they had to throw in the Star Wars movie.
Yeah, they get Solo and visual. That's it. I mean, come on. Solo has an incredible soundtrack. Best original score, Black Panther, Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins Returns. My guess is this may be one of those, because they don't give it a best original song, they may give it best original score, which is, kind of...
I still got to see that. I wanted to see that Black Klansman movie.
Yeah, that looks really good. I think it's on digital now. I've heard it's great. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Also, I really enjoy Mary Poppins. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to Mary Poppins too. So, but then again, I will say it would serve Mary Poppins right, because apparently, I just found this out, they did not use Lin-Manuel Miranda for any of the musical stuff in this movie. He didn't write the score, the soundtrack. He didn't do any of it.
Oh, I just assumed that,
I did too.
In the movie that he's in, like he did like the majority of the music stuff for it.
Like they brought him in for Moana, and he did the entire thing for Moana, and it's why it's one of my favorite animated movies. The soundtrack is amazing in Moana, and he did it. And why they didn't have him? I mean, he does a rapping song. I mean, he sings some of the songs, but he didn't create any of them. I think that was a mistake. So, whatever. All right, let's see. Moving on. Best film editing. I don't give a crap about any of that. Best documentary. Best documentary feature. Best costume design. Don't care about that.
Costume design. Who did that go for?
They got The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is interesting because that's a Netflix show. So this is actually a little bit of a Netflix-heavy Oscars. When we get to Best Picture, we'll talk about that. But The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is a Western. Black Panther, obviously, which... here's what I think. They got The Favorite, and then Mary Poppins Returns, and then Mary Queen of Scots. They'll probably give it to Mary Queen of Scots because it's all like old-timey costumes.
Yeah, and they always loved all the... They love all the good white people costumes.
Yeah, pretty much. All the powder faces. I would either give this to... I personally would give it to Black Panther. I mean, I know we're a little biased, but I'd give it to Black Panther just because...
They had sweet, like every single tribe had like their own very distinct.
That movie was so vibrant and colorful, and you felt like because the costumes were so great, you really felt like, to your point, everybody had their own look, and it felt like a lived universe, right? Mm-hmm. And it's cool. I mean, so many comic book movies are very bland. You have the hero who's got a cool, like, colorful costume, and everybody else is just black leather. It's like, what is this? Also, Mary Poppins. I did not see Mary Poppins Returns, but everything I have seen of it, it looks really pretty. It looks like the original movie, right? It's got all the bright colors, and so I don't know. We'll see. Cinematography, don't really care about that. Okay, here we go. Best animated film. This is actually, I think there's really only one winner in this one, but we have Incredibles 2, Island of Dogs or Isle of Dogs, which is like the rated R animated claymation movie. I'm not really sure.
Really?
Yeah, it's from Wes. It's from Wes Anderson, who always does those kind of weird movies. Mira, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm guessing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is going to win this. It cleaned up at the Golden Globes for what it was nominated for, and from everything I've talked to, everybody I've talked to said it's an incredible film.
Yeah, I can't believe I haven't seen it yet because my kids really want to see it, and
I've only not seen it because my kids went without me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Assholes. Can't trust kids. I'm telling you.
Horrible kids.
Whatever. I liked Incredibles 2, but normally Pixar cleans house in this category, but I don't think Incredibles 2 was worth winning.
Incredibles 2 and Wreck-It Ralph 2 sound like it's because there's not that many animated movies that come out, and so they had to just...
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the problem with, the best animated film category is, I get why they made it, because so many good movies... I'm sorry, Up could have won Best Picture of the Year. Like, that movie... There's times when, like, Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Movie, and that was the best movie of that year, in my opinion. Yeah. Animated films, for a long time, have not been recognized for how good they can be. And I think the kind of cop-out with the Oscars were like, well, we'll just give them their own category. Well, the problem is... I mean, you look at this categories, and Incredibles 2 was good. It wasn't great. I haven't seen Island of Dogs or Mira. Ralph Breaks the Internet was all right. And Spider-Man, from everybody's opinion, from everybody I've talked to, Spider-Man was their favorite movie this year. So,
yeah.
I don't know, whatever. But we're going to talk more about what's broken with the Oscars a little bit later. We have a listener questioner. We have a listener question.
A questioner listener.
God, I'm telling you, man, I'm tired tonight. My brain's just like running everything together. Sorry. Good thing you guys don't pay for the show. Or you guys might want a full refund. Right. You can hit Ryan up and he will give you back your internet money.
I keep a large stash of it.
And we don't mean Bitcoin. We don't have any of that stuff.
Right.
But
that paper monopoly money that we printed our faces onto.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we had a listener question about the Oscars and kind of what we thought about them. So we're gonna kind of tie in our thoughts of what's broken. We decided we had a whole little topic lined up, and then somebody threw a harpoon into it by asking a question about it later. So we're going to try and tie our discussion about the Oscars, what we'd fix, why the Oscars, the viewings the ratings are down, why nobody's watching, why nobody cares, and what we do to maybe fix it. So we'll talk all about that a little bit later. But anyway, back to the list. Here we go. Best adapted screenplay. I don't care. We don't care about that. Let's get to the good ones. Best director. Spike Lee, Black Klansman, something Polanski, Cold War, Palau Lansky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're watching Palau, I'm sorry. Yorgos Lanthimos, The Favorite. That's not my favorite. Alfonso Cuarón, Roma. He's a great director. I just watched Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which he directed. Really good. Should have won an Oscar for that. And Adam McKay, who I very much love, for Vice.
Vice? Oh, the Vice. Okay.
That is a movie. Out of all these Oscar movies we're talking, Black Klansman's one I want to watch. I haven't had a chance to see it. Vice is one that I have had to... I keep trying to find time to go see in the actual theater. Everything I've heard about it's amazing. I love the actors. Adam McKay's movies are great. The Big Short was amazing. That was the last kind of politically charged movie he did.
Yeah, and whenever someone says that they have to channel Satan to get into character as Dick Cheney, then you know that it's
Christian Bale is going to get my money just for that comment. That was great.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what Ryan's talking about, Christian Bale won for Best Actor and Best Actor, I think, in a comedy at the Golden Globes, and he, in his acceptance speech, thanks Satan for the inspiration to play Dick Cheney. So great. All right, Best Director. So apparently the heavy favorite is Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. I've not seen Roma. This is a
a lot of really good things. So
I've heard great things. I don't watch a lot of movies with subtitles just because I'm so tired all the time. If I read a movie, I end up falling asleep halfway through the movie. So, and this is not one that's in theaters. This is actually kind of a big deal for Netflix because this is a Netflix movie. And like we said earlier about the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, this is yet another movie that they gave it a limited release in theaters just so it could be eligible for the Oscars. But Old Hollywood is kind of angry about this whole thing because they do not want Netflix getting involved in the Oscars.
Well, Netflix has been dumping like $6 billion.
Yeah, I know. That's why our prices are going up in the next 2 years. Over the next 2 months, I mean.
All right, they're and I think they're just going to keep doing it because they jacked up all the prices on all of our plans. So they're going to be spending a lot more money on original content now. Yeah. Which I mean, there's been a lot of I've seen some hit and misses. Like right now, I keep seeing the IO. One's been popping up on the Netflix.
Yeah. But as far as this movie, the directing goes, honestly, it's hard for me to comment because I have not seen any of these movies. I would personally like Adam McKay to win an Oscar because he made Anchorman, and anybody who made Anchorman should win an Oscar at some point in their life. And like I said, The Big Short, I think people are going to have to start taking him. Big Short's a great movie, and I think people are going to have to start taking him serious as he doesn't just make comedies. He's a very good director for serious movies as well, and everything I've heard about Vice is it's incredible. So I wouldn't mind seeing Spike Lee win. That man has made he's never won an Oscar, and I think this is his first nomination, and he has made some incredible films that he should have won an Oscar for at least once. So I would like Spike Lee. As far as snubs, I do think Ryan Coogler should be on this list for Black Panther. In some ways, I think his job directing was even better than the movie itself. Because he took a comic book property and not only made it he made an incredible movie. He made a serious drama, like a very good movie. He made a movie that was important to a lot of people, and he made a movie that was culturally relevant in a time that it needed to be made, and it left a huge impact on people. And I don't know about any of these other movies, but I don't know how many of these other movies people are going to leave going, wow, that left an impact on me, and that is going to kids are going to be talking about Black Panther for 30 years. Like, it's that kind of movie.
Well, and it's very much in the African American culture. It's probably one of the highest ranking movies. Well,
yeah. I mean, I know there's always a joke that like when people say this is the first black superhero movie, and then people get mad and say, "Well, no, what about Blade?" Well, yeah. I mean, but this is the first black superhero movie that like. It wasn't just a black star.
Movie, golden age.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just like, oh, let's make a movie and we're going to cast Wesley Snipes. No, this movie was this movie embraced African heritage and culture in a way that nothing that I can remember has. And not only that, it embraced in a way that made it relatable for anybody who wasn't African American or, Wakandan, which nobody is because that's a made up place. But it made everybody go, I love this. And it gave representation to people who have never been able to look at a movie and go, that's me, right? And there's going to be a whole generation of little black kids that are going to grow up watching Black Panther and idolizing him, and that's their superhero. They see somebody like them doing heroic stuff on the big screen. And, we've had that for a long time. And it's great. And
we never had that as a white male.
I know. I don't have any representation. Well, they just took away Luke Skywalker. I mean, now we got stupid Rey running around with her uterus and lightsaber. What am I supposed to do with that? It was an impactful movie for a lot of people, and not only that, like I said, it was really, really. It had a message. It had a story. It had emotion behind it, and it was a great movie, and especially for a comic book movie, it was really good. And I mean, that movie could have easily just been a by-the-numbers superhero story, and I think because Ryan Coogler is good at what he does, he elevated that to something even better than it could have been. So for that, I think he should have got at least a nomination for Best Directing.
Yeah, and it could have been like Infinity Wars, where they just got like the special effects nomination that I was always going to get. I mean, there's a reason why it's getting, it was nominated for more than one category.
I do want Solo to win just so I can tell all the stupid haters, like, hey, won an Oscar. Won an Oscar.
Suck it.
Deal with it. Oscar winning Solo, a Star Wars story. But anyway, that's the only thing I got for that. All right, Best Supporting Actress. Once again, I have no opinion. I haven't seen any of these movies. Amy Adams for Vice, Marina del Tavera for Roma, Regina King, If Beale Street Could Talk, Emma Stone for The Favorite, and Rachel Weisz for The Favorite. I'd say give it to Amy Adams. She's amazing in everything.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's going to win and be very happy.
Best Supporting Actor, Marshalana Ali, Cottonmouth. from Cottonmouth from Luke Cage.
Oh, okay.
He's a great actor, even though I cannot say his name. For The Green Book, Adam Driver, Kylo Ren for Black Klansman, Sam Elliott, A Star Is Born, Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell for Vice. I was saying give it to Sam Elliott. He's been great for years. He deserves an Oscar. He should have won one for Tombstone. It's a great movie.
I was going to say, I'll just give it to the person that I know has been around the longest, that I've enjoyed most of their films. So I'll agree with you on that one.
Let's see. Best Actress, the lady from Roma, Glenn Close from The Wife, Olivia Colman from The Favorite, Lady Gaga, A Star Is Born, and Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me? From everything I've heard, Glenn Close is a shoo-in to win this, so there you go.
I'm going to say I'm going to pull the wild card, and Lady Gaga is going to win.
I'm pulling the wild card, Melissa McCarthy.
Ooh, Melissa McCarthy's always good. I like her.
Great, yeah. All right, let's see. Here we go. Best Actor. Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper, A Star Is Born, William Dafoe, At Eternity's Gate, Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, and Viggo Mortensen for The Green Book.
Aragon.
Mr. Robot, Rocket Raccoon, or Batman. Who's going to win? I say give it to Batman. He's the best, and he thanks Satan, which is hilarious.
I think it's going to be Mr. Robot.
Yeah, I would like to see Mr. Robot win. That dude is a great actor.
Yeah.
Good for him. I think this is his first lead in a motion picture, too.
I'm a little sad that I have not seen Bohemian Rhapsody yet. So.
Yeah, me either. It's one of those movies that kind of missed, and it's gonna it's gonna be on DVD here in like a week.
Yeah, it was one of those movies like I knew that if I missed it in the theater, I didn't feel like I was gonna be missing out on an experience that I could have just had at home.
Well, everybody I talked to said basically just crank your greatest Queen hits soundtrack just crank your Queen's greatest hits CD at home, and it's like watching the movie. I heard the movie wasn't even really that good, so whatever. I mean, do you need a reason to watch anything with Queen in it, though? Queen's great. All right, here we go. Best Picture of the Year. We have Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice.
I don't know what the Green Book one was.
It's like a Driving Miss Daisy, kind of, except for reverse. It's one of those movies where a white racist guy hangs out with a black person for a while, or a white slightly racist person hangs out with a black person, and then the black person teaches them not to be racist and how life is better when you're not a racist.
Okay.
And then the white person learns the lesson and becomes a better person and goes on to do great white things.
I'm going to go with Black Panther.
Yeah. I don't know. Green Book apparently is taking a lot of fire because the son of Viggo Mortensen's character wrote the screenplay, and apparently because it's based on a true story, and apparently the family of the black gentleman, I don't know the names of the characters, so apparently they dispute a lot of what happened in this movie, and it wasn't quite the way it went. So there's a lot of kind of controversy behind this movie. I don't really know. I think the actors are great. Whatever. Like I said, from what I've heard, it's like everyone keeps saying it's kind of like a Driving Miss Daisy type movie, which was all right, I guess.
Mm.
But whatever.
Still with Black Panther.
Yeah, let's just go Black Panther. I think Roma's gonna win. From everything I've heard, Roma is gonna be the winner. But whatever. I say Black Panther should win. It's not gonna, but I think it should.
Take that, Romans. We don't need you.
Yeah, and there you go. There's everything. Wakanda forever. And there you go. That's everything you need to know about the Oscars. You don't need to listen to anybody else. Wow, we spent a lot of time talking about the Oscars.
And be prepared. We got a lot more Oscar talk.
We got more Oscar talk, but it'll be fun Oscar talk. All right, so because we got some other stuff to get to, we'll just knock out the other news of the week. Not a lot of stuff.
For the news, it's just easy to knock out.
Yeah, here we go. Mario Kart, you're getting a mobile game. Apparently it's coming out. So if you got Mario Run, expect something similar, but with Mario Kart on your phone. Doesn't seem like you're going to have to pay for it.
There's one episode of the show where Brad and I are just going like this.
Yeah, so, during your normal Geek Dad Report poop time, you might have to take a couple minutes and play some Mario Kart too.
Yeah, when you're not on the treadmill pooping.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you poop on the treadmill, if you poop on the exercise bike and the Excite bike, then you'll have more time when you're actually on the can to just play Mario Kart.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's the only time you can get away from your kids.
That's good strategy, yeah. Everyone gives me shit like, oh, Dad, you're in the bathroom for like 30 minutes. You take forever. No. I'm usually done in about 2 minutes. I just spent 28 minutes in there. Listen, as a dad, if you can get quiet, you stay in there until your legs can go numb. And then you're like, when your legs have finally gone numb, you're like, I gotta get up.
When you stand up and you get a little shaky and you have to support your legs really quick.
You need like those handicap bars to help you get back up and move around. Yeah. All right. So Ryan Reynolds has been on the publicity junket tours in China. They've just released Deadpool 2 there. And he said that, hey, Deadpool 3 is in development and it's going in a drastic new direction. So it sounds like maybe they might have gotten a little word from Disney that Deadpool is not going to be canceled. So continue, keep doing what you're doing. We'll see what happens. Rumor is, though, that the X-Force, all the X-Men stuff has been canceled, including X-Force. So I doubt Disney's going to cancel Deadpool because that is a huge money franchise. But it sounds like they may be canceling anything else that has X in the title.
But will they still be able to have like the X-Men characters that they've been?
Yeah, no, they'll get the X-Men. Well, I don't know. Is Deadpool? I don't know. They didn't really give any information on that other than just.
Well, this will be the first time when we get to see what Disney is going to actually start doing with.
Not quite. We have 2 more movies coming from Fox from the last, kind of X-Men go-around. We still have the New Mutants that is on track to come out at some point. It's been delayed again, and the rumor is it may come out on Hulu. So that doesn't sound good for that movie. And apparently the X-Men Phoenix, the final X-Men movie of...
that one.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix, the final X-Men, I don't know, whatever you want to call Fox's X-Men universe. The butchered X-Men universe is going to be coming out this year. Apparently, they're trying to rework it a little bit more because test screenings are still really, really bad. People are coming out of it saying it's just terrible. So, we'll see. Whatever. It's the last one, so hey, to hell with it. Who cares? Let's see here. There was a new Shazam trailer, so hopefully it was good. You said it was good. I didn't watch it because I've seen all I need to see for that. I'm going to go see the movie, and I don't need to see any more trailers.
I only watched it because my son wanted to watch it, so...
Still looks fun as ever. All right, speaking of things that are fun, Bumblebee is Paramount's officially deeming it a success. It's already crossed 400 million. It could cross as much as 500 million before it's run, which is a huge success for them. They are moving forward with other Transformers movies like it, and apparently Bumblebee 2 is being greenlit as we speak. So,
Woohoo!
If you have not seen it, it's a great movie. I definitely recommend it. Unless you don't like things that make you happy, and then in that case... Don't watch the Oscars instead. Let's see. Punisher could get canceled. We already talked about that. Netflix, even though they are canceling all the things we enjoy and spending all our hard-earned money that they're taking from us in their price hike to sponsor Roma, they've also decided they're going to reboot Unsolved Mysteries.
No. Okay.
Whatever. All I know is that show gave me nightmares as a child because they never did normal, like, who left the toilet lid up? No, it's mysteries like, there's a million dead bodies and ghosts floating around and we don't know if they're really there or not. Oh.
Yeah. And it could be in your backyard.
Yeah, you never know. They could be in your room watching you while you sleep. Good
Yes.
night. It's like, what the shit?
Yeah. I remember I watched it like a couple times, and I had to like sleep with my light. Like I had like a reading light that I was like, nah, I'm just gonna keep it on and just before I go to
That
bed.
show, for just a show about unsolved mysteries, it was creepy. And you know what the worst part is? Every time. The show is literally called Unsolved Mysteries. But every episode, I thought that we'd get the closure that we were looking for. You're like, oh, they're going to tell us what happened. Nope, unsolved mystery. You're like, oh.
We're 90. We got the thing 90% solved, but
Well, that's the beauty of that show. They give you stories that are like 98% like, yeah, this is probably what happened, but just not enough that you get any sense of closure whatsoever. Whatever. Anyway, Unsolved Mysteries coming back soon. No date on when that's happening. And then finally, we talked last week a little bit about the new Ghostbusters 3 movie coming out, so we got a little more information on that. Apparently, Jason Reitman's Ghostbusters movie is going to be a passing of the torch movie, and it's going to have an all-teenage cast. So they're looking for, apparently the bio said teenagers from the ages of 12 to 14 will be hunting ghosts, right? With the original cast set to reprise, the ones who are still alive anyway, reprise their roles and kind of teach them how to be Ghostbusters. Sounds a lot like Stranger Things meets Ghostbusters, which is what I guess they're going for, which is fine.
essentially what the Stranger Thing season 2 was.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, and of course the internet had feelings. A lot of people were butthurt about it. A lot of people were great about it. Leslie Jones from the original, or from the last Ghostbusters, the 2016 reboot cast, said that this is some bullshit and this is something that Donald Trump would do.
yeah.
Not necessarily. I understand her anger because she got a lot, of very racist idiots online who gave her a ton of shit about Ghostbusters, so I can see her lashing out. I don't necessarily think doing another movie in the same universe as the original two is necessarily like a Donald Trump kind of thing, but everybody's entitled to their opinion, I guess.
I know that I just enjoyed the heck out of Ghostbusters 2016. So
Yeah, I really like that movie, and like I said, I do understand why she's so upset. She got a lot of... I think they got so much unnecessary hate that the fact that a lot of people were really excited about this probably just set her off. Whatever. I'm not going to tell her not to be mad.
Yeah, just wait until stuff starts coming out, and then the hashtag turd buckets are going to be...
Yeah, we don't get a bunch of racist emails every day that tells us we should kill ourselves, so I luckily don't have to live with that, so I don't know what that's like to have to live with that, but yeah, there was still a lot of butthurt fans, or like we like to call them, hashtag whiny turd bucket baby, whiny baby turd buckets. Whatever, people. This is never going to be what you grew up with. Just enjoy it. I don't care if there's a teenage cast. I don't care if there's an all-female cast. I would like it to link all the Ghostbusters universe and bring the girl cast back, because I enjoyed that movie as well, so whatever. There you go. And that's all the news you got. You got anything else to say about that?
Not on the Ghostbusters front. So I queued up all the rest of my stuff for.
All right, cool. So that's what you're doing. You look distracted. All right, that is all the news we got for you guys. Like I said, not a lot of news other than the Oscars, and I guess technically since we aren't our nerd entertainment podcast, we had to talk about the Oscars. So, but that leads us to from the Faithful 50. We're gonna jump right into listener questions. Ryan, what we got?
Yes. So every Wednesday now, I was about to say Thursday, I drop a post on our Facebook and ask you guys to leave any question that you could possibly have, and we will answer it on the show, and we will give you a shout out, and that gives you +1 internet points. And if you get enough points, then you can cash that in and go on to today's show and not be a racist teenager. So let's see. Our first question comes from Christine, who is part of one of our top-ranked questioners, I guess is what we can call them.
Oh, there's no probably about it. Every week she's on board. Come up with great questions.
And she wants to know, have you watched The Norseman on Netflix?
I have not watched The Norseman on Netflix. Is it good?
It's I've watched the first two episodes. It's basically like if you tried to take Vikings on History Channel and they tried to make it funny.
Oh,
Or
funny? Like comedy?
yeah.
Oh, so it's a comedy.
It's Vikings but like a comedy. At
Oh,
least if
all
I'm
right.
thinking of the right one. Because I've watched the first two episodes and it's all right, but there's only one way to represent Vikings in my mind, and
Vikings.
that's as serious blood destroying every badass Ivor's a god this.
I
And
I'm almost caught up on. I got a few episodes left to get caught up on this season. I got a little sidetracked with the Punisher, but well, Christine, are you watching? Are you watching The Norseman? And if you
yeah,
are, should we watch it? What do you think about it?
yeah, let us know what you think, Christine, because I got through the first two episodes and it wasn't I couldn't watch it after that.
All right,
So if it
there you
gets
go.
better, let me know and I will give it a chance.
All
So.
right. Thank you for the question, Christine. All right, who else we got?
All right. Next up, we have a question from Jeff,
All
who
right.
is my uh, current favorite of all of our listeners because he gave me a digital code for the Fallout movie, and because of that, Jeff is now number one.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Look at that. We can be bought and bribed, apparently.
When I take bribes, I'm
Well,
just saying.
the joke's on you, Ryan. When you showed me that he sent you a code, I stole the code and entered it first into my Voodoo account. I
Well, just so you know, I still have your password. So,
gotta change
Jeff
that.
wants to know
Hang on, let me.
what.
I gotta make an adjustment.
I'll just ask your wife when you change it. So,
Fallout. Did you watch it yet?
I've started it, and then my wife fell asleep, and I was like,
How do you fall
"Honey,
asleep? That is like one of the greatest action movies ever made. How do you fall asleep in it?
I don't know," but she was, and then she said, and then I was like, "What are you doing? You're like falling asleep," and we were just trying to get this movie started. She's like, "Oh, I'm tired."
Oh
I'm like, "Okay,
God.
well then go to sleep and I'll watch." She's like, "No, we have to watch it together."
Just
And
tell
like,
her to
well
watch Henry Cavill's giant
then
pecs.
I'm tired.
All right, whatever. All
So
right, we'll talk more about Fallout in a minute.
yes. So thanks, wife, for falling asleep. And so I'm just gonna say, Jeff, he wants to know what are your plans for the Super Bowl Sunday. He said he's either gonna go to the movies or the gym. But bottom line, he is not watching that shit show. And you know what, Jeff? I agree with you. I have zero desire to watch this Super Bowl. I don't care about the Rams. I know everyone in Seattle doesn't care about the Rams, and
I
really nobody wants to see the Patriots win again. If the Patriots win again, I quit.
I'm gonna give. Hang on, save it, Ryan. I'm gonna give my full feelings on our Super Bowl show next week that we're gonna do, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be a goddamn classic because I have anger, I have rage, and I have a lot of fuck off NFL sentiment inside me right now. So when we give our Super Bowl special, I'm gonna tell you all the reasons why you should just watch our show instead of watching the fucking the Turd Bowl. You should just hit the flush button on that thing. What am I going to do? I'm probably going to day drink and watch Harry Potter because we're going on vacation in 3 weeks to Universal Studios and we're trying to get through all the Harry Potter movies. So I'll probably just sit and watch Harry Potter all day. I feel like that's a much better use of my time.
Which days are you guys going to be in Florida for? Are you going to be in February like 5th?
We're going to be we're going to California.
Oh, you're doing the California.
We're doing
one, huh?
LA. Yeah, we're going to do. We're buying the LA Go passes so we can do all the parks. Well, except for Disneyland. We're going to do Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farm, Universal Studios. So we're doing that over President's Week.
I thought the Harry Potter thing was only in Florida. They have it at the Universal
No, yeah,
Studios.
both Orlando and I think in Orlando it might be a little bit bigger, but from what I've heard, the California one's pretty big too. So
Okay.
I mean,
All
both
right.
of them you get to walk through Hogwarts and Hogsmeade and Gringotts and Diagon Alley and all that cool shit.
Drink some butter beers, then you'll be good to go.
Oh yeah, dude. Apparently you can buy hot buttered beer, room temperature buttered beer, or frozen like an ice cream. Butterbeer. They have butterbeer candy. Dude, I'm going to put on 150 pounds at Universal Studios alone. Yeah. I'm going to buy all the candies. You can buy all the candies from the movies. I'm a big Harry Potter nerd, so I'm going to be in heaven. I might spend all my money there. I'm getting a wand.
You're gonna walk out of there with you're gonna do the sorting hat and stuff, right?
Well, we're gonna talk about that in recommendations, but I probably won't do that. I don't know if there's a line for that. I know they have a wand choosing ceremony. I'll probably just buy a wand, but I will definitely be in robes yelling Expelliarmus on the show the whole time. Harry Potter.
Like shoving your kids aside.
So yeah. It's gonna be great. And they're gonna be like, oh, let's do it. I'm like, shut up. This is my moment. I'm a wizard. I'm gonna get a Nimbus. I'm gonna get a Nimbus 2000 and run around like, woo! I'm flying. It's gonna be great.
Punching people out of the way.
I'm gonna put my GoPro on my kid's head so they can watch me dance around like an idiot on my Nimbus or my Firebolt. I'll be like, yeah.
Just anyway. Double fisting butterbeers as you.
Just so fat.
Just get one of those helmets that, got the straws, and you just got like a butterbeer on anything.
I doubt I'd be the first person who's ever done that, I'll be honest. But yeah, so we're doing that. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably get my shit together for the trip and maybe watch Harry Potter, or maybe even just mow the lawn, or maybe clean my toolbox, because anything is better than watching that bullshit game.
Yeah. I plan on maybe just taking a good solid nap.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch highlights of Edgar Martinez. By then they should have his entire Hall of Fame and reel where it's 20 minutes of his best hits.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of them. We'll talk about it soon, but I've watched a bunch of them, and they all kind of go around the same 5 hits basically.
I think that's what Jeff, I think that's officially what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dedicate the Super Bowl I'm gonna make that national Brian West celebrate Edgar Martinez making it to the Hall of Fame day. I'm just gonna drink. I'm gonna maybe I'll order an Edgar Martinez jersey. Wear it.
Just start chanting Edgar everywhere you go. Edgar.
My wife will probably get tired of me saying, hey, you want to see my bat? Hey.
Yeah.
Pine tar. All right, what's up? What's next?
All right, so last question from Jeff. Did you want to do this question? Did you have a question from...
I had no question, so this is our last question.
All right, so Jeff wants to know, this is how we're looping back into the Oscars.
Yeah.
And he said, is it time for the award shows like the Oscars and the Golden Globes to start recognizing the blockbuster movies for more than just special effects?
Wow, weird. It's almost like you were reading our minds, Jeff, when we were doing show prep here. The short answer is yes. It is past time. I mean, they need to get back to recognizing movies that not only are great movies, but do well in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Well, and... weren't they trying to make a new category or something?
So they tried to do a popular movie category, right? And so that was supposed to encompass, that was kind of the freebie, the best animated movie category. But then here's the problem. The problem is then all of a sudden a movie like Black Panther that can be nominated for best movie no longer will ever get nominated for best movie. They'll take any movie like The Dark Knight or Black Panther or... name any movie that you love that you think is Oscar worthy. They're just going to dump into the most popular picture category.
Yeah, because they'll just keep slapping ooh, this movie was really arty, so we can make this one the best movie.
Well, and that's probably what's going to happen. It's then you start turning into, Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star is Born. Any major mainstream hit will end up in that category, and then to your point, you'll have best movie of the year will all be 5 movies that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Because the Oscars, here's
title.
We could spend an entire show talking about what's broken about the Oscars, so I won't dive into that. They're trying to get better. I know for the longest time, it was 100 really old white guys that all voted, and they even were coming out and admitting that they didn't even watch all the movies, right? It's come on, you have one job. You're going to vote for movies for best movie, you should see all the movies. And so, this last year they really try to diversify and expand who votes on these, so that way they can get more diverse categories. They can get a bigger, not even they wanted more diversity in the categories, but also just a bigger pool of people saying, this is a great movie. This is a great movie. Let's get these movies in here. Unfortunately, they still end up with a lot of movies that a lot of people haven't seen. I mean, well, I can't say that. I'm sure there's a lot of movie heads who love movies, who've watched every one of these movies. But for guys like me and you, and for people who have kids and are busy, I mean, most of us haven't seen these movies. I mean, we end up seeing movies that we see with our kids, or we see the superhero movies. And that being said, we've still seen a lot of really great movies. I loved Ready Player One. I loved Solo. I loved Aquaman. I thought they were all really good movies. I can understand why they're not nominated for Oscars, but at the same time, what is a movie? Here's the problem with the Oscars. They want to give out awards for achievements and great acting, right? Well, but what is great acting? Like we were talking about earlier with Ryan Coogler, what's a great director? Is it somebody who makes a movie that seems perfect, or is it somebody who takes a property and elevates it and brings you something unique, original, and it's something that sticks with you for a generation, right? I mean, maybe Roma will stick around for a generation. I feel like no one's going to be talking about Roma in 3 years. We'll still be talking about Black Panther. So, I think the Oscars always remind me of the old South Park skit where people are farting and like to smell their own farts. And sometimes I feel like the Oscars they want to always feel relevant. Like they want to be like, we are serious actors and you have to take our art seriously. So they always want to pick movies that are serious, like acting. Like this is because... Yeah.
Or they want the movies that, that made an impact, but, it made an impact in a way that was, done to the standards of the movie industry. Well,
yeah, and for instance, Crash. Crash won Best Picture a few years back, and that movie was all about racism and bigotry and sexism and yes, it was an important movie, and you watched it, and you're like, okay, but I've never seen a movie that felt more manufactured to win an Oscar than that movie. It's like they had a checklist of what's all the terrible things in the world? Sexual assault, yes. Racism, yes. And let's just put them all in one movie. And it just was it felt so...
Yeah, but this is what La La Land did a couple of years ago. That was the one that was the big, huge L.A. Hollywood circle jerk.
Well, and now what's happened is people are making these movies that they think are Oscar winners, and then the Oscars now turning their backs even further and saying, no, haha, joke's on you, we know what you're trying to do. I think the problem that the Oscars have is that I don't think they know what makes a great movie anymore, and I think they've lost touch with okay, let me rephrase that. They do know what makes great movies, but they've lost touch on what people like to see movies about, right? And I think, yes, should we ever nominate it Bumblebee for Best Oscar? Probably not. But you have to take into a fact that these are the movies that people enjoy, that people like to see, and that people love. And you have to start acknowledging that these movies, a lot of these movies are better than what you're trying to give them. You can't write off. I mean, when The Dark Knight didn't win for really anything other than for Ledger, I knew that they would never win, because The Dark Knight is really a great movie that also happens to be a comic book movie.
Yeah, well, and it never had a chance.
No,
just because of the fact that it was a Batman movie. I mean, other than maybe special effects, and like you said, Heath Ledger, who maybe they only really actually recognize him because he died.
If he hadn't died, he would have never won the Oscar, which is a tragedy because that is amazing. His Joker is the Hannibal Lecter-ish, right? And how good it is. And here's the other problem is that, for instance, we were talking about James Wan, right? James Wan took a movie in Aquaman that should have been a disaster, and he made a really good, visually amazing movie, but he'll never get recognized for that. Never. Because it's an Aquaman movie, right? But that's stupid. If James Cameron can get recognized for an Avatar or Titanic or whatever, then these guys should be recognized for these comic book movies. And, they've gotten away, and I don't know what exactly happened, but at least when we were growing up, the Oscars had movies that people saw. They had Forrest Gump, they had Braveheart, they had Gladiator, they had Titanic. Yeah, you had movies that you never heard of, but you had movies you could literally I saw this movie, I love this movie, you could root for this movie, right? And they don't include those anymore. And like they don't have best. I mean, in best movie, like I know you don't need like 30 different categories, but how about like sci-fi? No sci-fi movie ever gets nominated anymore. And there's some incredible sci-fi movies.
It's just like a science fiction movie that, like Blade Runner, that, those kind of movies that are like very arty and very, like sticks with,
The Arrival, that's an incredible movie. And Arrival should have won. I mean, The Arrival could have won for a best picture.
That was a really good movie. I enjoyed the shit out of it.
But like a movie like I watched like The Quiet Place. The movie itself, it's not the best movie. I mean, it kind of falls flat at points, but it's got some incredible performances by John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. And that movie doesn't even get a sniff from the Academy because it's quote unquote a sci-fi horror movie.
Yeah.
But people really love it. And so, I mean, I don't know how to fix that completely other than... Here's the problem. Your ratings, I bet you the ratings are going to be lower than ever. The Oscars have no host. Back in the day, you couldn't really see your favorite stars very much because the internet wasn't really a thing yet. So people watch the Oscars because you get to watch the people you enjoy, watching movies about or with. And now I think part of the problem is all these celebrities are accessible through...
so connected now.
Well, they're accessible through Twitter. They're on TV all the time, on the internet. I mean... Like, you don't care about watching actors get awards. And we really don't care to watch actors that we see all the time now get awards for movies that we've never even watched.
Yeah. Or for movies that everybody has just it's just the pace now. It's just so fast that, a movie comes out and 1 month later everyone's forgotten about it because there's 3 other movies that have already come out. And, and the studios are trying to get you jacked up for, the next Marvel movie. So you completely even forget that 90% of this stuff even exists.
Well, and to your point, too, I mean, like a lot of these movies, they come out fast in the theaters, and a lot of the Oscar winners are ones that you're going to watch on once they hit HBO, right? So it's just, I think they need to, I think the Oscars are going to have to realize they're going to have to really start throwing a bigger net, looking at movies like The Quiet Place, and not just saying this movie isn't, it's not an Oscar-type movie. You have to look at it and say, okay, you know what? This person had Emily Blunt was incredible in that movie. She was great in that movie. And stop disqualifying stuff just on the basis of kind of what they are. I mean, let's be honest. Black Panther was kind of like throw the nerds a bone is really what it boiled down to. We need to get people to watch the Oscars, so let's nominate it for a bunch of stuff, even though it's probably going to win nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And I think people have kind of caught on to that too. Every year they nominate stuff that is never going to win, and you get a bunch of people you don't like in roles that you've never seen them do, and they get up there and give thank a bunch of people you just don't care about because you don't care about their movie.
Yeah, and I think last year Get Out was probably like that one.
Yeah. Like
that just managed to get in there because it was so.
It was so relevant. Not only was it an incredible movie, it was a relevant movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem, right? I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Is I think they're very tone deaf of what I think they want their cake and eat it too. They want everybody to care and care about these movies. And listen, there's a lot of really good movies that would never get any recognition if they didn't win Oscars, right? So I'm not saying like it shouldn't just be Best Picture, 3 Marvel movies, a Star Wars movie, and a Spielberg movie every year. But they've got to quit just being here's a bone. They either need to expand the categories, add more to the categories, or give some more subcategories and give them that people can actually get interested in, and maybe nominate people that we give a shit about.
I think what they really need to do is up the budget on the introduction. That that's like the main thing of the Oscars that everybody watches, and maybe give them like a $100 million budget and get that introduction.
They're never getting that back.
Good, so that you can hook people in for the rest of the show.
Well, hey, even the MTV Movie Awards used to be like that was kind of, if you didn't watch the Oscars, you could go watch the People's Choice or the MTV Movie Awards, and they really had the categories that we cared about, and even the ratings for that are down, just because I don't think people care about awards for movies really anymore. I just don't think they even give a shit.
Movies are in a different place than they were just 10 years ago.
Well, and I think the Oscars kind of had a way of validating your feelings about a specific movie. So, like, if you watch, say, Gladiator, right? You go back to our Forrest Gump. You go, oh, I love Forrest Gump. oh, it won an Oscar, that means everybody else loved it too. Because you couldn't talk to each other as much. You could talk to your friends, but you couldn't go online. Now, you know how everybody feels about every movie the moment it comes out, right? You don't need validation anymore.
You're looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score to see what 50 critics said, and then the 1,000 audience, people that put in their ratings.
I can almost guarantee
rated the shit out of everything.
If Rotten Tomatoes did an award show nationally televised, it'd probably get better ratings right now than the Oscars, because people would be like, "Ooh, Rotten Tomatoes, what do they say?"
100% a Rotten Tomatoes Oscar or Rotten Tomatoes award show would get more because it would be streaming, and people would just and it'd be like 30 minutes long. Well,
and like you said, people aren't looking for that. I mean, people still want people still want their favorite movies to get awards, but that's the problem. The Oscars have got to find a way to reconnect with people, and I think the only way to do that is to start bringing in a bigger, diverse crowd of movies. There are some really good movies that never make it because they're genre films, and I think they need to really start bringing those in.
Yeah.
And I think you do that, you can start getting people back, and you got to have a host. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the Oscars really have much leg to stand on anymore. I mean, I've stopped watching them in the last 5 years.
Dude, the best host I thought they had was Jimmy Kimmel was good, but I really like Seth MacFarlane, and everybody was all mad because he kind of roasted the actors. So whatever.
Oh no, he made it. He said things about. See, that's what annoys me. It's like, you can't.
People hated him for that boob song. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was a good song.
I mean, it was so funny, and it seemed like most of the actresses were like, all right, whatever, it's funny.
It's a shame because he does do Orville, which is probably one of my favorite TV shows out right now.
It's just people don't want to watch a bunch of snobby, artsy fartsy people jerking each other off about how great a movie was that you never saw. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
They want to see them get humbled a little bit,
Not even humbled. You want to see, that's why I think, you want a Mr. Robot to win. A guy who's young, who's going to get up there and just be like, yes, this is so great, thank you. Or a guy like Christian Bale, who thanks Satan on stage because it's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Why should we care about, what's in their swag bag that they got? Oh, no, all these super rich people are getting some super rich gifts.
What dress is this by? I don't care.
Yeah. Here, and look, they're wearing $20 million worth of jewelry. Like, oh, great. I don't
know. Whatever. That's our thoughts on the Oscars. So there you go. We'd love to know your thoughts on the Oscars and what you guys think the Oscars should do to fix things.
They should just go away.
I think we've given more time than the Oscars deserve on our show. So, all right. That leads us to our final couple segments. We have a quick recommendation at the end of the show. But before that, me and Ryan thought it'd be fun to tell a little parent stories in the Parent Trap.
Oh, we don't really have a song for that.
I need a better intro. Me and Ryan thought it'd be funny to regale you guys with tales of horror and carnage of everyday raising children.
Oh. Brian, did you want to start? Or would you like?
Sure. Where would you like me to start? I got a couple. I can make them both pretty quick. The shorter one was that we had the blood moon the other night, which was pretty cool. We all looked at it. My kids looked at it and said, "Ooh, cool." And my youngest goes, "Oh, what's covering the moon?" And we're like, "Oh, it's like the Earth's reflection. It's causing like a lunar eclipse." She's like, "No, I know what it is." She goes, "It's an alien spaceship." I said, "You think an alien spaceship is covering the moon?" "Yeah." I said, "Why do you think an alien spaceship is covering the moon?" She goes, "Because they've come here to get us and eat and suck out all our brains." I'm like, "You are not allowed to watch Netflix anymore. Give me your iPod."
Like what? You need your own account, and you're gonna be locked out from.
Dude, I mean, think about this. My daughter looks at the blood moon and says, "Oh, it's 8." My 6-year-old looks at the moon and says, "Oh, it's red because an alien spaceship full of aliens who've come to Earth to suck out our brains is." And not only is she think that's what it is, she's not even like scared. She's not like, "They're coming to get us." She's like, "I'm ready. I'll cut them."
Yeah. It's like whatever you say.
She pulled out. I saw something on her hip the other day. I was like, "What the hell is that?" She had taken paper and made a paper sheath and made a paper sword and put the paper sword in the sheath, and she's taking it out, but she didn't put like a bunch of paper together so it was hard. It's one piece of paper then cut out like a sword, so it's like flapping around. I'm like, what are you doing, Chuck? My daughter's a lunatic. But yeah, my other fun story was I think I teased it last week. I went to my daughter's first dance recital. And, well, not first, but it was like a dance. So we've had her in dance class for a couple years now, and she's really good at it. She does a good job, but it's it's an all age kind of group, so it's like,
oh god, so you got like the 6-year-old,
6 all the way through 17, and the 17-year-olds, they have a little more like actual dance routines that are fairly well choreographed. You can tell they've been doing it for a long time. But so we've gone to recital before. This wasn't a recital. This was a mock competition because a lot of the girls are going on to do dance competitions later, and so they do like a fake, a trial one so they can get scores and practice routines. And so it's like an hour, but it felt like 9 hours. So we go to this high school auditorium. There's no eating or drinking, so you can't have any food or booze.
Oh god, that's the worst.
And you're sitting in these, these auditorium seats that are made for high schoolers. And you're sitting here and you're like, oh, great. And so, I mean, like, there was some cute dances, but it felt like it went on forever. Half the kids are running into each other and falling over. And I'm just like, oh, my God. Somebody. And then my youngest, right? So we're sitting there, once again, Chuck's story. And so, of course, Addison, my oldest, had one dance. One dance she had to do, and it went from 6 to 7. What time do you think her dance was on?
6:05.
No, 6:55. So I had to sit there for 55 minutes. I couldn't leave because, hey, she was at the end. So I'm sitting there. I'm just like, oh, my God. Like I said, there was some dance routines that were fine, but for the most part, it's like...
For the most part, you're looking at your phone.
Well, there's no cell service in there.
Oh, no, that's even worse.
So you're just like, dude, the hour felt like forever, and I feel super old because every song they play, I've never heard of before, and I'm like, what is going on? And half the time you can see the instructors waving the kids this way to that way, and they're all running in circles, and you're just like, what? I'm paying money for this? What it was? Oh God! And so anyway, so about halfway through, I'm sitting here, and I'm like, God, this auditorium just stinks. What's going on? I feel like somebody's ripping ass right the whole time. Like, what's going on? And so I kind of nudged my wife and I'm like, hey, so you smell that? She's like, yeah. She goes, I think someone's farting. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so my Charlie comes and sits by me and it smells even worse. And I'm like, Charlie. She's like, what? I said, did you shit your pants? She's like, no. And I was like, it smells like poop. She's like, She's like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not. And so now I'm like on a mission, like, why does it smell like poop? I'm looking around. And so I get my phone.
Stink lines like coming
Dude,
off.
I am. So I get my iPhone out and I hit the flashlight, right? But I get it low because I don't want to, it's dark in the auditorium when people looking. And I don't know how we missed this, but the bottom of her boots, apparently somewhere she stepped in dog shit, like covered. The whole shoes are covered in dog shit. It's like she did the river dance in a pile of dog shit. And I'm just like, oh, God. And she's like, the whole time she's been bored, so she's been like sitting and standing on the chairs and putting her feet on everything. And I'm like, oh my God. There's some poor high schooler who's going to be like, and they're just going to have shit all over their pants. And I'm just going to, it was my fault. Well, it's actually my daughter's fault, but yeah, I'm just like, and the worst part is only like halfway through when you find this out. So now that I know what it is, it's just, all I can do is smell it, right? You're just like, oh God. And you think she's left this, you can imagine in your brain, she's left this trail of dog shit everywhere, right? Yeah. So as soon as the lights come on, I'm like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Or did she put her shoes up on the back seat or of anything?
Oh yeah. I look over at one point and she's like doing the bridge across them and she's got like the traction of her shoes wedged in the top of one of the chairs and I'm like, no, get over here. Your dog shit. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. Parent corner. Apparently before you guys go out, always check your kids' shoes to make sure they're not just covered in dog shit.
Yeah. So let's see. My Parent Trap this weekend. Lincoln had his first sleepover,
Mm-hmm.
and so they played a bunch of Xbox. They're 11-year-old boys, so it's a little. They play a lot of Xbox. And then we did our first Dungeons and Dragons game, with them, and that went really well. The only thing that sucked was that, I'm not sure why we had to do this, but so it was like 12 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to try and stay up, super late, and I was tired as shit. And so they're like, well, we want to watch Ready Player One. I'm like, all right, you guys, get up in the beds, and, you guys can watch the movie, and then, you can go to bed. So I think everything's all good. I'm already in my pajamas. I got my teeth brushed and everything like that. And I went and I lay down in my bed because I'm like, it's fucking 12 o'clock at night. And, they're in the room, the door's shut, they're going to watch their movie and, they'll fall asleep at some point.
Uh-huh.
My wife comes in, she's like, what are you doing? Why are you sleeping? I'm like, because it's 12 o'clock at night and the kid, and they gotta, like, no, we gotta stay awake. Because we gotta make sure that, that,
what, they don't run around the house with dynamite?
Yeah, apparently. So I didn't know. So I had to fucking stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning. And just to make sure that the kids went to sleep at a decent time at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You're nicer than I am. That's when I go down to the garage and hit the light switch box and be like, oh look, power's out, time for bed.
Yeah, I just opened up the door and I said, yeah, turn that shit off and go to sleep now, cause
watch it in the morning. I'm tired.
And then they wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. They're like, yeah, let's eat some breakfast. It's like, yeah, here, you guys can have some cereal and a piece of toast.
I've trained my kids. It's like, have a good night. My door's closed. Don't burn the house down. Make your cereal in the morning and quietly watch cartoons till I wake up. Yeah.
So but the good highlight of the weekend was the night after, when it was just us. We all watched, the kids watched Indiana Jones for the first time.
Ooh, which one?
We watched Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, the face melting.
And so I just kept glancing over at the couch, to see how I'm doing, and my son's like, and he's got big old wide eyes, they're like this big while he was watching it. And my daughter, and she was paying attention throughout the whole movie. She wasn't like as, deeply into it as he was, but, so my wife, the only scene she didn't want them to watch was the Nazi face melting scene.
It's the best scene.
I know, that's what I tried to argue it, that I saw it as a kid. Yes, maybe I had like one night or two nights, where I was like thinking about like people's faces melting off. But
it's part of the experience of growing up.
But it's part of the experience of Indiana Jones. I mean, it's the shithead Nazis. They don't just die.
They had it coming.
They get their faces melted off.
See, what do you think's worse? I think the ripping the heart out is worse than the face melting, because I think the face melting looks kind of it looks fake.
Yeah, I think that would. So we're trying to decide if we should go in order.
Just watch Last Crusade.
If we
skip Temple of Doom.
It's the best one.
I love Temple of Doom. I know a lot of people hate it. I love it, but it's pretty gory.
Yeah, I think if they watch Temple of Doom, they might actually lose interest. So I think I'm going to go with The Last Crusade.
Yeah, plus, it feels much more like the true sequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Temple of Doom is great, but it feels like it's like own weird standalone movie. Because honestly, here's what people don't know about Temple of Doom: it's a prequel.
Yeah, and nobody cares about Dr. Jones.
Well, that's what's funny. Is like the movie. It goes timeline. It's actually Temple of Doom, then Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Last Crusade is a sequel to Raiders, which feels like a sequel, and then obviously Crystal Skull's, few years down the road, which that movie's not nearly as bad as people say it is. The ending's a little weird, but other than that, the movie's pretty fun. Cool, man. Well, that sounds good.
So I'm pretty excited. My kids they're like super into Indiana Jones now, and we're gonna watch Last Crusade. So I finally got them around, and it's all on Netflix now. So you can catch all of them on Netflix. So
good call. Forgot about that. All right. Well, there you go. That's Parent Trap this weekend. If you guys have a parent story you'd like to tell, feel free to hit some in the comments. We'd love to hear your guys' stories as well. All right. Let's see here. What do we got left? Quick recommendations. Let's give some quick recommendations before we get out of here because it's late and I'm tired.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So let's see. So for my recommendation this week, I had started watching. Oh shoot! I'm forgetting the name of it. I was just thinking about it, dude, like 5 minutes ago.
Oh shit! While you're thinking about it, I actually had 2 news stories that I did forget to mention. Go figure. The Expanse season 4 will be has been announced that it's coming out in 2019. We knew that Amazon saved it. We just didn't know when the next season was going to be airing. So it sounds like sometime in the middle of this year. And to get everyone ready, Amazon, which is currently streaming season 1 and 2, they will be streaming season 3 next month on Amazon Prime. So you can get ready for The Expanse. Everybody watch The Expanse. Great show. And another great show that is still on Sci-Fi, didn't get canceled by them, is The Magicians. Season 4 is about to air next week, I think. And they already announced before season 4 aired that season 5 has been renewed. So if you're Magicians fans like I am, love that show, you can rest assured that we are getting at least one more season after this year. So, all right, what's your recommendation? Do you remember it?
So my recommendation was Dark Matter on Netflix. I started using that as my background show, and it was originally on the Sci-Fi Channel. It has 4 seasons. I started using it as my background show where I just kind of listened to it and then glance at it, and then I realized that I was not doing anything but watching the show. So it went from being my background show to
actually a good show
that I had to like pay attention to. So that's my recommendation this week. It's on Netflix. You can catch the first 4 seasons. Mostly, I had started watching it when it came out on Sci-Fi, and then I just got so far behind that I never got caught up, and I just started from the beginning.
I know. I still have Night Flyers. I recorded that whole thing. I'm gonna watch that. Deadly Class, I think, started this week too. I'm gonna try and record that as well. But I'll try and give you some recommendations on that. All right, cool. So Dark Matter on Netflix right now. My recommendation this week is, like I said earlier, I've been watching all the Harry Potter movies with my kids, getting ready for Universal Studios. I've been listening to binge mode Harry Potter, and it's rekindled my love for Harry Potter, made me think all things Harry. And one of the things I realized is I never got myself sorted into a house. So my recommendation this week is you can go over to Pottermore.com and you can sign up for an account pretty easy. They have some very basic information, nothing too crazy. And then you can
your email and like your name and your birthday or something.
Name, your birthday. You don't have to give your real name if you don't want to, but you just any name, an email account, and your birthday, and set up a password. And what's really cool is you can set up your own profile. So what you can do is you can go in and you get yourself sorted into a house. They asked a lot of questions, and they're not the same questions like I did and then my wife did it, and we both got asked different questions. But they're surprisingly deep questions. And it makes you think about, like it says, like if you're going down a dark road, and the road forks into 3 paths, right? So if you're like, oh, I want to be a Gryffindor, I want to be a Harry Potter, I'm going to answer all the. Yeah. It's not like that. I mean, there's a few things that you might be able to kind of notice, like, do you like to fly a broom? Yes, well, but I mean, but for the most part, if you answer honestly, it definitely seems like it tallies a lot of different information to sort you into a house. So
and the questions aren't like, will you murder this child who is like standing on the side of the road? And you're like, well, that sounds like a Slytherin thing.
Yeah, so like one of the questions I got is you come to a path in the road and it goes 4 directions. One direction goes to the sea, one goes to a dark forest, and one goes to a castle. Which do you take? So like I chose the castle, right? But and there's a lot of questions, about 10 or 15 questions like that really make you think about it, and then it sorts you into your house based on your answers. So I know you guys are all dying to hear if you didn't already know. So I got sorted. I thought I was going to be a Gryffindor. I really did. Apparently I was wrong. I am a Ravenclaw, which the more I read about it is actually pretty honest. They're witty, bunch of smart asses, highly intelligent, creative, like to talk. Ravenclaw all day long.
Now, I had done this a little while ago, and when I told you my house, you were a little bit of an asshole about it. So I'm just gonna say that I was a Gryffindor, and if anybody would like to not be an asshole about it, they are free to comment.
Hey, dude, you're in a rival house, all right? I will crush you and take the house cup. You do not stand a chance. But another thing, so what's really cool is once you get sorted into a house, you can find out all the information about people, famous people in your house, the characteristics of your house, the founders of your house. So if you're into Harry Potter, they really dive into the lore. But that's not all you can do. You can also choose your wand, and you also get your Patronus. And to get those, you do the same thing. You answer a bunch of questions.
What did you get?
I got a white mare, so I got a white horse.
Ooh, I got some monkey.
My wife got a gray squirrel. I was like, oh, that's great. I've never seen that before. And she's like, stupid. I got a squirrel as a Patronus. I'm like,
what's it going to do? Chew on some acorns?
She's like, I want a horse. I'm like, no, I got the horse. You got a squirrel.
So if you do this and you want to do it for your kids, I discovered that you cannot reuse emails, and so I had to dig deep for my son and my daughter to find some older emails that I could try.
Well, my kids already have emails because they have iTunes accounts, so I'll just use their emails from that and sign them up. So that's cool. Yeah, and then I had I had a wand with a unicorn hair, and I don't remember all the details of my wand, but yeah. So it's pretty cool. So if you want to have your own profile and know if you like Harry Potter and want to know where you stand in the universe of Harry Potter, that's where you go and do it. So I would definitely recommend it. It was a lot of fun, and even if you are in the beginning get the results that you did not expect, that it has a way of making you kind of start feeling like, I'm like, unicorn hair, I wanted a phoenix feather as my wand, and then after a while you're like, no, actually this is a lot like, it's amazing how detailed it is and how much the questions they give you when you start looking at the characteristics of your wand or your Patronus or your house, it really does kind of fit your personality. So kudos to them. It's a lot of fun. And now I'm become fiercely loyal to Ravenclaw.
On the site as well, they have a lot of information about different stuff and some stories that J.K. Rowling has written, and they do one that's about the American Wizard School.
Oh, cool! I haven't read that. I'll check it out.
You should read that one. It's really good. It tells you everything about how the one school in America was founded and stuff like that. It's really, really good. So
cool. So there you go. Check out Pottermore. So that is all the time we got. We have, as usual, blown our time out of the water. So we are going to get the hell out of here. But before we do, Ryan, would you like to tell everyone they can find us?
You can find us on YouTube at the Geek Dad Report and Twitter at the Geek Dad Report. And Brian is Brian153, and I am Big Bruiser. We're on Facebook at the Geek Dad Report, and you can also find us on podhell.com with our friends, the Utah Outcasts. And you can also find us, lastly, on iTunes, where we are 100%, Brian.
100%
caught up on iTunes.
And we're 100% rated on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, and so make sure you leave a comment, a review, and give us 5-star, a like, a star, a thumbs up, whatever it is. We would really request that you give us the highest maximum amount of affection.
And just tell everybody how great we are. That's what we really need. Yeah.
Tell 5 friends. Yep. Tell 5 people about us. And when you're enjoying listening to the show and you start laughing, they say, what are you laughing about? Geek Dad Report.
Geek Dad Report. Check it out. Watch it. And if they don't, then you poop on the treadmill and watch it hit them in the face. But on that note, we got to get the hell out of here. We got to go record a review of a certain comic, this one.
Ooh,
and we got to do that right now. So until next time, everybody, thanks for watching, and stay awesome.
And stay nerdy.